tuning your choice, tapping into the frequency of an empowered life. This podcast is all about making choices. Let's face it, life is all about choice we make. And what would you do when life gives you lemons? Here I will share inspirational story of everyday warriors who have overcome struggles, adversity, challenges, and learned how to be their life authors and live life to the fullest. By capturing their stories, then learning in their experiences, each story becomes like a piece of evidence, and they can give you the courage that you can too. Do you know it's only take 1 second to make the choice? The choice that can lead you out of the loop of struggle. The choice that allows you to claim your power and be the author of your own story. Throughout the podcast, you're gonna hear stories from everyday people who have made empowered choice that lead themselves to live a happy and fulfilled life. Their tales will inspire you, uplift you, and give you hope that there is always a different choice to make in any situation. But before that, let me tell you a little bit about me and why making an empowered choice is so important to me. Hi, I'm your host, Zaki-Leung. I'm a transformational speaker, a breakthrough mentor, and a subconscious healing specialist. Coming from a challenging background, where my parents disowned me when I was just 8 months old. Growing up, I faced bullying, abuse, and family violence. I experienced firsthand how trauma can impact our life, physically and mentally, and how it can leave deep scars in our subconscious mind. But I make a choice to liberate myself from the past, to get on my own healing journey at the age of 15 and reclaim the power of my own life. Now, 20 years later, I'm living my purpose, spreading the message of choice, helping others to transform, and reminding each one of us, you have a choice. No matter where you're tuning in from, join me and let's create a life that's full of possibility. Premraj Kalapadan is a global professional keynote speaker and an author. He speaks on employee engagement, leadership, and management with emphasis in the banking and financial space. Premraj is the co-author of 5 books, all of which scaled the Amazon #1 bestseller list. He loves writing on the human angle at the workplace. Premraj spent 37 years in banking with experience in public and private sector. He held senior position in retail branch banking in India's best bank. As a brand manager in a very large branch with active employee engagement, he introduced a process that became the standing operation system in the bank. Premraj has also been a CEO of a group company of this bank, overseeing more than 21,000 employees. Wow. Views expressed by Premraj has been published in leading Indian newspapers. His idea and suggestion are futuristic. In these tough times, the distilled wisdom of his experience will make for compelling story and provide for insights to futuristic trend in employee engagement. His speaking assignment has been appreciated for the richness of content, clarity of thoughts, and visualization of the future. He has hosted over 75 talk shows on different platforms, interacting with diversity individuals from all around the world. Premraj is based in Mumbai and lives with his family, and also he's a pet cat and all. So here we welcome Premraj tuning in today to the show. Hi, Premraj.
Hi.
How are
Nice
you?
being on the show. I'm okay, thanks. Nice being on the show.
Thank you. It's nice and early in India today.
Yeah.
And Premraj, thanks for coming in today. So let's start with introduce a little bit about yourself. let me know, like, let us know who are you, where are you from, and where are you in life right now?
Like you introduced me, my name is Premraj Kalapadan, or I can also be called as KV Premraj. I'm based out of Mumbai, India. I finished my active working life and I now want to share my experiences that I've had in the corporate world with the coming generations. It could be with keynote addresses or public speaking, or it could even be training assignments. What I'm looking forward is to sharing my experiences with the up and coming generations, with the overall society. And the areas that I'm looking at is middle management and the first level of supervisory management, where maximum attrition happens, because due to them is where maximum attrition happens. So I'm looking forward to address that problem. That's me.
Thank you. Thank you. So I remember where I met Premraj. We know each other from a global speaking community. Yeah. So when I first speak to Premraj, I feel you cares a lot about human, about company culture and employees. And the most memorable things to me was all the books you participate in as an author and co-author, and I see that in your Zoom background as well. That's fantastic. And I remember that time I was hesitating, should I write my own book? And I always wonder if I can actually put a book together, or will like my broken grammar. And I talked to Premraj and he gives me encouragement. And also I have discovered Premraj comes a long way to be where he is now. So Premraj, would you mind to share your journey with us about who you were before and your journey to become who you are today?
It's a long story. Let me start.
Yeah?
When I look back on my life, there was this recurring incident that I feel has scarred me. There was this time when I was in the 6th grade, where part of our English course, each student had to step forward and read 2 paragraphs from the school textbook. This was a weekly ritual that I came to dread. I was the second youngest boy in the class. Stepping forward in front of the class was a mental ordeal. Standing facing my classmates was terrifying. About 30 pairs of eyes used to bore into me, which was quite unnerving. At that time, my reading style was more of a sing-song type. As soon as I stepped forward and commenced reading, the class would break out laughing. I used to feel small, humiliated. I used to dread these weekly sessions. The teacher also was not very helpful, as she did not stop the sniggering. Many times, I would be looking imploringly at the teacher, seeking help. Though I did not vocally seek help, I was hoping she would volunteer to help. No help came, and I continued to stew in my misery. At that time, we used to stay in a sleepy village in the outskirts of Mumbai. A year ago, after a prolonged illness, my mother had died. With 3 children in the sub-10 age group, Dad was finding it difficult to look after us with no help from relatives. In such a setup, seeking help for my reading problem was a non-starter. Left to my own devices, I retreated into a shell. This episode is the cause of my becoming an introvert. But throughout, I had a burning desire to prove myself to the world as to how I could become a forceful speaker. The stumbling block was lack of help. I looked around, seeking avenues to listen to the spoken word and model myself on it. The only source that was available was radio. Television in India had still not made an appearance. When I look back on my life, it is this recurring incident that used to scar me. So what could I do? So I thought, if I can't speak, let me start writing. This was when I mulled over the idea of expressing myself through the medium of writing. After debating with myself, I zeroed in writing letters to the newspapers. In those days, newspapers used to welcome readers' views, and I thought it would be a great way to express myself. So, in the sixth grade, I wrote my first letter. It was written on a page torn out of the school notebook. This letter was sent to a leading Indian newspaper, the Indian Express. Days after posting the letter, I used to look to see it being printed eagerly. No luck. I continued writing 2-3 letters every month. My ill luck continued as none of those letters got published. I passed out of school, went to college. It was when in college I realized my handwritten letters would not enamor me to any editor. I had to get the letters typewritten. It was around this time that I confided in my father about my interest in writing and requested whether he would get it typewritten in his office. He obliged. For the next year or so, my letters would be typed, but the editors were still not indulgent, as none of my letters saw the light of the day. For more than a year, Dad was getting my letters typed. As none of the letters were getting published, I guess Dad was also getting a bit embarrassed about the whole venture. This was a time I started feeling that I should not depend on anyone to get my letters typed. I would learn typewriting. For the next 3 months, I learned typing. And from then on, I started having my letters typewritten by myself. But unfortunately, success continued to elude me. But I was quite sure I would not give up. I would continue to write. And finally, before my 18th birthday, I saw my first letter in print. It was an exhilarating moment. That night, I slept holding the magazine to my chest. This was the first published piece I had. I continued writing. Before my 25th birthday, I had over 1,000 published pieces, after which I stopped writing. Over the years, the passion for writing has continued. My contribution has been published in leading national newspapers and in-house magazines of the bank where I worked. The COVID-induced lockdown has seen me co-author 5 books, all of which have scaled the #1 Amazon's best-selling list. Having been a successful writer, there was still this unfinished business regarding my ability to speak publicly. The humiliation that I had faced in school still rankled. I yearned to ensure that it was put to rest. Periodically, I did venture into public speaking, but then it was a scary side. Stage fright took its toll, but persistence and tenacity was my forte. I joined some courses with where, with the help of co-participants, gradual improvement happened. Coming in proximity with Sam Cawthon, the global authority on communication and speaking, has been a game changer for me. The Speakers Tribe Mumbai chapter has been inspirational. The constant support, encouragement, and feedback we see being extended by the core team has been inspiring. The one-on-one feedback and tips for improvement that had come my way was quite inspiring. Chris Baldwin's pinpoint feedback on crafting stories has been inspirational. In fact, I spent 7 days with Chris and his wife Kate in Bali for the only time Speakers Institute has had a retreat. At that time, one-on-one session with Chris and Kate was a real game changer. This has helped me to a great extent, and during the lockdown period, I've addressed webinars for Indian and international audiences. 2 platforms opened the stage for me to conduct hour-long talk shows. Interacting with local and international celebrities has polished my skills.
Wow, that's amazing. From student to start writing and to speaking. And I can hear the whole story. Like, I know Premraj have a lot of different choice moments. So I want to dig in deep a little bit about, you told us about you've been asked to speak in the class, and your classmate and even the teacher, and you feel humiliating about that experience. And then you decided you have to write. You find a way to express yourself, trying to put your thoughts, idea into something like want to share to people. I want to know the internal feeling before and after, before you already share us about the feeling of small and intimidating. And what about after you make that choice? You have decided, nah, I have to do something about it. And how's that feeling?
The feeling that I had was I felt crushed, a failure. At that time, I could not look people in the eye as I was feeling very small. I'd expected the teacher would step in and stop the sniggering, but unfortunately, that did not happen. Left to my own devices, I retreated into a shell. And throughout my life, I was an introvert. I couldn't grab the courage to speak to people. I wouldn't, even now, I find it difficult to talk to people, to initiate conversations. But even in that time, when I was going through that tough phase, there was this burning desire to prove to the world that I can be a forceful speaker. After I made the choice to express my opinion in writing, for 7 years, I failed. Not a single piece was published. Every month, I used to pen a couple of letters. But seeing all of them rejected was quite crushing. But I never gave up hope, kept persisting and finally succeeded. And when I succeeded, that was an exhilarating moment. I can still live it. I'm still savoring that moment. When I recall that incident, somehow or the other, I feel very good. And I felt proud of myself.
That's fantastic. Yeah. So I heard you in here. We receive and we face, even though you make that choice that like you have to start writing, but it doesn't stop the setback and challenges, of course, because we are in this 3D world and we're living in this life. And the challenges still come, which is 7 years, there's nothing, like you've been keep writing and posting, but there is nothing come back. But one thing I just catch you were saying before is keep posting, keep going and going. And this is what you say it. And as this is say it very easy to us as well. But I truly believe keep doing it is the essence of how you overcome your challenge. Is that right?
Yeah, need to be consistent in whatever you do, it's easy to give up. If you want to give up, one fine day you need to tell yourself, nothing is working. Let me give up. Let me try something else. But I was not willing to give up. I might have been very young in age then. But then the tenacity I had, even at that small age, really, really helped me. And I kept persisting. I kept writing consistently a couple of letters a month. And was it for more than 7 years till I finally succeeded.
Yay. And did you notice, like, so you were still in school that time when you start writing, right? So after you make that choice that you need to do something about it, or you need to start writing, expressing, have you noticed that do you get any feedback from a teacher? Did your classmates start looking you in the other way? And is that part of your change after you make that decision?
See, at that time, when I was writing those letters, I could not express myself. I could not tell anyone that I was doing it. It was done without the knowledge of anyone because I did not want people to feel I'm a failure there too. And if you look at it, the entire school life, though I would have written for about 4 or 5 years, not a single letter was published. So if I had spoken to someone, that would have been another case wherein I would have been the butt of ridicule. So I kept this hidden. No one knew, no one in my family, neither did my siblings or my father know I was writing these letters.
And you just keep that faith.
Yeah. Only when I went to college and I had to confide in my father because I needed to get those letters typewritten. Did he know I was doing something like this? And hats to off to him, even though he might have been feeling embarrassed for a couple of years when no letters were getting published, he still was helpful in getting those letters published, typewritten for me.
Yeah. But during the 7 years, have you ever thought of, nah, that's not for me. Like, I should just stop doing it. Have you have those defeated moments?
Yes, there were many times I felt.
Yeah. And how you
should
go
be
through
doing
that?
something like it was just consistency. That burning desire that I had. I knew I had to do it. There was no choice. I was not willing to give up. And because not too many people knew I was trying to do this. So then it wasn't that difficult. Apart from my immediate family members, no one knew I was trying to write letters and get them published.
Yeah.
So that also helped in my favor. And it was that tenacity and persistence and consistently writing that really helped me.
Yeah. And you chose not to give up.
I chose not to give up. That's right.
Yeah, it is. And so I know that you've been doing a lot of so during that time, you just share with us that you tell yourself, like, don't give up, keep doing it. And every time I almost can see the little Premraj in there is every time it's feel defeated. It's like, keep doing it. Let's go. Let's doing it. Let's get pumped again. And is it how you build that strength?
Yes, that was it. That was it. Just not giving up. There were negative self-talks. Sometimes I felt I should be doing something else. And I was pretty good in sports too. So I could have done that too. But this burning desire, I need to prove to the world I can write and I can speak. So I kept at it, finally succeeded.
Yay. Yes, I've been actually writing down a lot of germs you're saying because your word have so much wisdom in there. So
Thank you.
So it's for wisdom, like you need to be persistent, just not giving up. Those words seems very easy, but it's need to conquer it in our mind, and we need to really live up with that. And so share with us, what's your biggest learning and takeaway from this experience, from that whole experience?
The biggest one would be being consistent and not giving up. It's easy to give up.
Yeah.
But consistently, if you do something, success will happen. And if you look at it in all phases of life, all areas of life, if you're consistent and keep doing something over and over again, you will succeed.
Yes, it did. And don't scare to take more step too.
Yes.
Yeah. And of course, we know like now Premraj is doing different talk, doing different workshop and writing a lot of books. And share a little bit with us more. And apart from not giving up, is there any motto or beliefs that one thing during that time to keep you, motivate you to keep going?
Yes. See, what if if you have to ask me, if I have to draw some conclusions, I would say the most important thing was believe in yourself. Have the self-belief. You will be able to weather any storm. There will be adversities in life, but you need to work on yourself, work against the odds. By judging oneself to be capable of success increases the chances of success. That belief in yourself, you need to have that belief in yourself. That is what will be a game changer, is what I feel.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm sure many audience or sometimes we look around to see our friends or sometimes even us in this situation, we tend to forget to remind ourselves. But for me, I always have a little notes on my computer as well and say, show up, like whatever I want to motivate myself that time, don't give up. And I just write it there and remind ourselves. Sometimes we just need that little reminder to keep us going and never ever forget our internal potential.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, never like keep believing in yourself. That's very, very true. Wow, this is amazing. Amazing story, Premraj. Um, if I ask you, this is the last question. If I ask you, what's that 3 books? If I ask to recommend 3 books to our audience, or that 3 books is actually help your life journey, and what 3 books you would recommend to us?
One would be Robin Sharma's 5 a.m. Club. That's an amazing book. I've got influenced by that.
Yeah.
And in this phase of life, like I mentioned, I was influenced by Sam Cawthon. I spent 7 days with him in Bali. We had a retreat. We spent 7 days, and I was the only Indian in a group of Australians. There were 10 Australians, and I was the only Indian there, the non-Australian, in fact. So that 6-7 days that I spent, we had one-on-one sessions with him. So 2 of his books really has helped me, and I keep reading them again and again. One is on story showing.
Yep, I
Sam
love
Cawthon's
that.
story showing. Yeah. And the other one was how to bounce forward. How to bounce forward.
Can say,
Again,
yeah,
from
how
Sam
to
Cawthon.
bounce forward.
How to bounce forward. Change the way you deal with adversity.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that too book. How to bounce forward. Story showing, of course. And I think we both agree Sam, which is pretty much says Sam Cawthon, have so much impact into our life. Like, yes, absolutely is. He's the one inspired me to hold a podcast as well. And he also has been my mentor for so long that, yeah, he's amazing. Yeah, so 3 books. And I love Robin Sharma as well. Like Robin Sharma have very depth insights. And I really love enjoying reading his book. Wow, that's fantastic. Is there anything you need to you want to add on and share with our audience?
No, that's it. I just want to leave the audience with just 3 or 4 points. One would be just believe in yourself. Always overcome negative self-talk, which will always be there. And then learn to upskill yourself. If these three things are done, you will succeed in life.
Yeah, believe yourself, minimize negative self-talk, and always upgrade yourself. Well said, Premraj. Thank you so much to tuning in today, all the way from Mumbai, India. And to you all who is listening or watching this podcast, I want to ask you, what's one choice you are going to make and allow yourself to be the best version of you? If you or anyone you know that have an empowered story that can share and benefit the collective, please contact me. Please contact me and come on and share. You can contact me through my social media or through my email choice@susaki-leung.com. I will put it in the comment down below so you know where to find me. And last, remember, you always have a choice. What choice you gonna make today? So again, thank you everyone. Thanks Premraj, and thank you everyone tuning in today. No matter you're listening or watching or listening replay, I'm glad you're here. And I hope today's podcast has been valuable to you. Thank you.